we get the seed in the ground to be done with this. And let's see, it's August 23rd right now. So it'll be another month and a week, and somebody will be killing that deer out of that stand right there. God, that'd be so awesome, right over his shoulder right here. What's that?
Let's get this on camera. See this, Tiffany? Pocket knife. Had it in my pocket today.
See this? You don't need a pocket knife. Oh, look at that.
I know, nobody believed me then.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. We'll be heading out west here in just a few days, but we're doing some last minute preparation, like for some fields that we got some whitetails that you're gonna wanna see, some things to make sure that the deer you have all summer are in front of your deer stand in the first week of October. So tune in for that. And
we have the winner of our Mod Bug giveaway, and I have it in my hand right here, so stay tuned.
see, it really sits at an angle like this. You know, you think it's north and south, but it's really tipped that way. So like west, and you can even get away with northwest on this a little bit here. But like this is where I had it, but most of them will come out from here and come in from here. So it's really nice for any kind of a west wind, and even up here in that one, even any east wind, because you know when they come here, it's such a deep ditch down there where they hop out of that ditch. That's why I shot that the big brow tine, the giant 9-point with the huge brows. He came out right through there and shot him right here. And then from that stand that's over there, that one year I shot that giant with a really heavy points. I think it was 10 with the split too. So it's such a good spot here. All right, well, it's hard to believe that it's already late August. You know, the next episode that we'll be doing will be coming to you from Alberta, actually hunting. I don't know where the summer went, but right now it's the things that we talk about a lot, and you hear it all the time, you know, about food plots and stuff. But I think there's something that a lot of people are missing, and I was just talking about that this morning. Like when we first moved here 30 years ago, we had, you know, no competition. We were the only ones really doing food plots, and we were pulling all the deer, and it worked like crazy. I mean, just how many deer you pulled in. But now that, you know, that was 25 years ago, and you look at it now, everybody's doing that. So you got to kind of up your game, you know, than just throwing in food plots. And a lot of that is your soil and your timber. Like we've done a lot of episodes on the timber, which we did a whole bunch of hinge cutting back right in here. But this field right here has been phenomenal over the years. For some reason, just the way that the structure of all the timber here, and it's a big chunk of timber in this smaller field in here, is just a magnet for deer. But we've noticed over the years is that our brassica fields, for instance, they used to be waist tall. And now in the last 5 years, I can't get them over knee tall. You know, and you're just like, what's going on here? Because you're always taking soil samples, you look at but basically you're just looking at your nitrogen and your P and K, and you're like, man, everything looks good. But then we start taking like a full in-depth look at it, you start seeing how those micronutrients are gone out of there. You know, where sulfur didn't used to be a problem when all the regular diesel was going before DEF and all that. There was sulfur coming down in the rain every time it rained. You start looking at all of your fields, they're basically sulfur deficient. And then also like the zincs and the borons and calciums and all that small stuff. So what we started doing, we did an episode last year on organic works with the turkey pellets. And when we did that, we had like the best fields the next year from that, and still continue to have on those fields that we did on that farm. So I've been talking with those guys, and they really made this a lot cheaper even. If you come over here and look at these pellets, like they were a lot bigger before. So what they've done, these pellets, they made them a lot smaller, so you can actually put them in just about anything. You can put them in a hand spreader if you're doing like a garden or something like that. But for us, like a small field like this, I could probably do it with just a 4-wheeler spreader. So it makes it a lot easier to spread it for one. But the big thing for them is the dies that they had before. They had to change them out like every week or so. And now with this smaller die and stuff, they've really become more efficient with this. You know, this is probably like 30% more manure than if you just put raw manure out in there, because they've taken out all the moisture. So they dehydrated it all, so you're getting all the stuff you want in such a smaller package, but they made it way cheaper. And now we start buying this in the 2,000-pound super sacks, and that's way more affordable. I mean, it's cheaper than regular fertilizer. So at least this stuff here is going to give you a lot of those micronutrients and your organic matter and all that stuff you need. And then there's also a product that they make too, that I have in my sprayer over there called Revline, that will pick up the pieces for what the manure doesn't have. you know, it adds a little bit more nitrogen, even if that has nitrogen in there, just to pick that up a little bit, and a little bit in the borons and stuff like that that you really need for these fall brassica plots. So this is a spot here where we have a couple big deer here, actually 3. And there's 2 different spots, but this one, for one of our bucks for sure, is one that we'll probably, and I'll say in the first 5 days of the season, Tiffany or whoever's hunting here will smoke that deer at that water trough right there. So we're really gonna make sure that we have this field done up right. And we've already fertilized it earlier in this year and then disted up once. You see all the weeds coming up in here. So what we're gonna do is it already has some nitrogen, P&K. We're gonna put all the organic works, turkey manure in here, and I'm actually gonna do 2 passes with it. So I'm gonna put it on first, and then I'm gonna rototill it in, because I wanna get some down deeper in the soil. That rototiller's that's sitting at about 8 or 9 inches. I wanna get some of that down into the bottom, you know, into the sub layers of the dirt. And then I'm gonna put another layer on top, and then plant over the top of it, and then spray the Revline on there too, because the turkey manure is more slow breaks down over time, you know, and it doesn't take as long as like lime or things like that. But it takes a little bit of time, but that Revline will be around it right away. So the first thing it starts coming up, it's got all those micronutrients to get it out of the ground. And then as we get rain and as the months go on, all that turkey manure will start disintegrating and getting into the soil, and just make your soil, you know, so much more nutrient rich for, you know, if your neighbor has a clover field and they have a clover field that has everything in your soil, that comes through in the plant. And you can see it, because we've done tests on this where we've taken half the field and did half it and then half without, and you can just see how much they eat the side that has the proper nutrients in it. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna get this in here and start disking it up. So let's get to work. All right, well, we put the organic work pellets on this field, and then I rototilled them in because I wanted to get some like down deeper, like, you know, 8-9 inches into the soil. And now I'm putting another layer on top, just so when the next time we get a rain and stuff, it kind of sinks it in for the tops of this. I want to get, you know, I really want to make sure we get the organic matter and everything, you know, right on this field. So I'm putting on 2 applications of it, since it's, you know, I want to get one deeper in the soil and one on top, and then we're going to plant on top of it. And I think even right now, after this, even before I plant, I'm going to put a coat of Revline on the top of this soil here, just so when I put the seed, it's already down on the soil. And then once it starts coming up, I'll probably put another application of Revline over the top of it once it's coming up, so I get it right on the leaves themselves. But right now we're just about ready to go swap over and get the planter on and do this field. This is the second application of fertilizer, and then we'll put the spray on, micronutrients fertilizer on, and then get back here with the planter and get the seed in the ground to be done with this. And let's see, it's August 23rd right now, so it'll be another month and a week and somebody will be killing that deer out of that stand right there. Well, we just spent maybe an hour here. We got 2 applications of the Organic Works turkey manure pellets, rototilled it up, worked some of that in, and then also the Revline, it's a product from the same company, from Organic Works, that kind of makes up for those micronutrients that maybe the turkey manure doesn't have. So really in an hour's worth of time, we can totally change this, because we had fertilized it already with normal fertilizer, and that's what we would have normally done. But I think just now taking the extra step, just making sure that all these plants are going to have that extra micronutrients and everything that they need in the organic matter in the field, it's just going to give you that much more of a head start, and just that much better, more palatable food platform, and hopefully that'll bring those deer here instead of on your neighbor's fields. So like I said, it's only an hour's worth of work, and we're just trying to get more organic stuff in the soil here. You know, obviously all the chemicals and things like that, there's a place for those and we still have to use them. But I just look for myself when I go get, you know, my blood tests, and everything always comes back fine except for like the pesticides and like the glyphosate and stuff into your bloodstream. I think all Americans basically have that now. Anytime you eat anything with soy or corn, you get a little bit of remnants of that, and you see that coming up in your blood tests. You can imagine what deer, like animals, do when they're out, you know, right after you spray, they're out there eating it immediately and just digesting it, you know, where we're just getting it, you know, secondhand through after it's already grown and stuff like that. So you're just trying to think about what kind of damage that does to them health-wise, if any. You know, they don't live that long. They don't, the average lifespan of a deer is probably, of a buck anyway, it's probably 3 or 4 years old, and maybe there is no, you know, residual effect from that. But I would just look at everything, try to do everything I can in the summer. That's why I think Iowa is the perfect state to be a deer manager in, because you can feed during the hunting season or during the off season, but not in the hunting season. And that's what I like about it, because in the summer, it's not that they need the food. Let's face it, the whole state is food. But there I can get protein pellets into them. I can get some of the B12s and some of the other things, you maybe try to keep ticks off of them, and just kind of keep them as healthy as possible. You know, put the most you know, most they can into their rack, and just not so much into their body. Have everything for their body all year long. But then when it comes to hunting season, I don't want to be able to feed here, because you look at all the advantages that we've had over the years with better bows and camos and, you know, stands and blinds and scent control and all that stuff. We've had tons of advantages in 30 years that I've been here, but the deer have none. So I don't want that during the hunting season. I want to have to work for them. I want to have to do stuff like this and work on your tree stand stuff, entry and exit. I want it to be a challenge for you. And that's why I just think some of those states that have it, no feeding in the off season, but you can put out corn during hunting season, I think that's totally backward. I don't think you should give yourself an advantage to killing a deer. I think the feeding in the off season should be to help keep them alive, and not with all the EHD, like the Analogics pellets has basically a all natural form of a EHD vaccine in it. So I can try to help them with that, with the EHD. I can try to keep the ticks off of them. I can put stuff in there to deworm them, the, how do you say it?
Diatomaceous earth?
Diatomaceous. How do you?
Diatomaceous.
Diatomaceous?
Yes.
All right, diatomaceous earth we mix into our pellets. I had one of the companies that makes our pellets put the diatomaceous, however you say it, earth in there. So basically what it is seashells. It's just crumbled up almost like fine pieces of glass. So you don't even notice it on your tongue, but when it goes through their digestive system, it basically just scrapes out any of the worms and things like that, and it's just basically a dewormer. So those things that you can do, you know, to try to help keep deer healthy in the off season, and try to keep ticks off of them and everything else, and just all those little pieces you put together maybe helps them survive through the EHD times when otherwise they wouldn't. But when it comes to hunting season, I don't think you should be able to feed. I think it should be, you know, if you do the work, you put in food plots and the water troughs and do everything, you're going to have the deer there. And if you're not going to, I don't think you should get rewarded just for dumping a pile of corn out and going sitting over it. You know, so that's just my opinion. You don't have to leave any comments, because I'm not going to look at them anyway. I'm not saying anything's wrong with that either. Everyone has, you know, you can hunt with dogs, do all this stuff. Everyone has their own way. We're all hunters. I don't want to, you know, badmouth anybody. That's just saying the way that I'd like to do it, that I like to see it. I feel like I want more of a challenge every year. You know, when it was just trying to shoot a buck and then trying to shoot a Pope and Young and then a Boone and Crockett, you know, you're always wanting it to be harder and more of a challenge. And I think without being able to put a pile of corn out and sit over it, that's just something makes it harder, more of a challenge for myself. So I'm not knocking anyone that does that or any states that want to do that. I just think that Iowa has it correct, where I can do things to keep my deer healthy in the off season. Then you got to pull all that out in the hunting season, and then hopefully your deer are healthy and they're going to live through EHD, and they're going to have, you know, the most body fat and put much as they can in their antlers. And then you have to do work like this to keep them around, keep them on your property. So anyway, I'm going to go get the planter on it. We've done everything we can on this field, and we come back and plant and get a couple more cameras up here. We've got a new, the new cameras from Tacticam. You can go to live view if you want. So like sometime in the evenings, especially like this, I kind of know where these deer are going to come from anyway, because we've been hunting it for years. But if it was a new place, sometimes maybe right at, you know, prime time, you just want to go to live view and see what trails are coming out from, and then you can adjust your cameras accordingly. So it's kind of nice to have that feature on the new cameras. So we're gonna get a couple more cameras in here on the scrapes, and there's already one on the water tank there. But this thing, we put a couple new straps on the summit stands up there, and then we'll be all set. And in 40 days, we'll be killing a deer out of that. All right, well, we just went and fertilized the field up north from here. It's a couple hundred yards, and this is what we call our middle field. And we already planted this at the beginning of August. And this is in an Analogics Perfect 10 mix. And this has been a great mix for us over the years, because it's got all the brassicas in it, you know, with all the turnips and rape and purple tops, and it's got even some sugar beets and some things like that in there. But it also has like the wheat and oats and rye and stuff in it. There's a lot of people that talk about that deer aren't eating their brassicas. And a lot of that, we've never really had that problem. I mean, normally as soon as those brassicas start coming up, deer are right on them. But a lot of that can be with your soil health. If it has a lot of nitrates in there and lacking boron and stuff, it can be real bitter. So I think a lot of that, you just really got to check your soil on that. But there are some places, maybe, you know, if the deer have never eaten brassicas before and it smells weird and stuff, so a lot of times they don't get on it until late. But to solve that problem with that Perfect 10 mix is that we put oats and wheat and rye and stuff in it. So you can look down these rows, you can see all the oats and wheat and rye coming up as well. So deer will be on that immediately. You know, everybody knows, like, when that winter wheat starts coming up, you know, deer are on it like crazy. And especially like when we get to hunting season, like October 1st here, everything else will be dying. It's middle of September. Corn is dying, all the beans are dying, all those deer that you saw in the bean fields all summer, man, they're all over, I'm gonna hunt them on this bean field. As soon as they start turning yellow, like the middle of September, deer just leave those, and they're finding something that's growing. So that's one thing, like right now, when we get to October 1st, everything else will be dead or dying, all our ag fields. But this is the one thing that's growing, it's still coming. So that's what deer will really want to be on this. That's the field we're going to plant up there, is Amazing Grains, which will have the same kind of mix like the oats and wheat and stuff like that, but it'll also have like Austrian winter peas and stuff like that. They'll just be growing, and it can withstand more colder temperatures, so that winter pea will grow, you know, into November and sometimes even longer, depending on what kind of weather you have. This is a field that we planted, like I said, a few weeks ago, and you see it all coming up in the rows here. But we have the Revline, which is it's kind of a foliar spray. I put it on the soil just to get some of the sulfur and boron, some of those micronutrients and stuff into the dirt before I plant it. But where it really shines is something like this that's already up and growing. So we you know, obviously we fertilized and did everything in the soil, but once it's coming up, now we can spray that foliar fertilizer right over the top, and it'll pull it in through the leaves and stuff and give that extra jump here that you know, all your plants need. So this is one they can see that's been done over 3 weeks ago, coming up pretty good. We haven't had a lot of rain since we planted it, so, but it's still pretty decent coming up. But I'm going to give it a shot of the Revline, and we'll move on, go get the planter and plant the field that we started on. But I just wanted to make sure we got some on this as long as we're here. Oh, there's another praying mantis. It's like they've been all over us. I haven't seen one in probably 20 some years, and then Tiffany just showed me yesterday there's 2 of them on our deck, and I texted her this morning, there was one on that box down there. Saw them when I was a kid back at home in Minnesota, but I hadn't seen them since. All right, well, here's these super sacks of the turkey manure pellets, and this has really made it more affordable, I think, for a lot of people. Like a couple of years ago, like I talked about earlier, that they had the pellets and they were bigger, and they were, you know, the trucking part of it was so expensive because they just had to put them in, you know, a belt truck, and then we dumped them out in piles. And now when they changed the dyes and stuff, they got the cost way down, but you got a 2,000-pound sack here. And now these, I think they're even going to get some places like, you know, they're out of Illinois, but they're going to set up distribution places like in Iowa and some other places that, you know, you can just have them all stored here, and then people can buy them, and they don't have to drive all the way to Illinois. But even so, now this is coming down to about, I think he said it's around $200 for one of these, and this will do like 3 acres. So to me, that's super affordable. If I wanted to spend $1,000 and get 5 of these in, you know, I can either go pick them up or just even put them on a truck and ship them up, or get with a couple of buddies and have them, you know, have a semi pickup, you know, 40 of these or something, and bring them. To me, that's about as affordable as regular fertilizer. So it's a nice way that they're another way to offer it, and I'm sure that they'll get more distribution places throughout the Midwest and wherever the most demand is for it. But for me right now, this makes it way more affordable and easier to get, where I don't have to get the big belt bottom trucks that was costing me $5,000 just to get it here. So now I can even go pick it up with my trucks, and for, I said, $200 to do 3 acres, that's super affordable. So we're gonna try to get these, gonna lift these up and get them in the fertilizer cart over there and continue on fertilizing. We got a few more fields to do, and we'll finish it up. Just probably have to push them through the loops there. And we can just try pulling that cord and see how it works coming out of there. All right, well, yesterday we came in and we fertilized this field with the turkey pellets and rototilled it up. I didn't plant it yesterday because as long as I had the rototiller on the tractor, I was gonna go do the rest of our fields too. I've been thinking about it overnight. You know, normally I use our G10 drill for amazing grains and stuff like that, which would be perfect for this. But this soil is so light. It's like timber soil, and even when I just put the rototiller barely down, if you look at this, how dusty this is. I mean, it's just, even just putting that rototiller basically down in there. So I didn't want to use something like a no-till on that G10 on this. I think it could sink into that dusty stuff and get it buried too deep, and then you get a rain on here and just where it smooths it out, and the seed ends up being 3 inches deep. So I went and got our Brilliant and my Hooyman broadcast spreader on a 4-wheeler. So what I'm probably gonna do is I'm just gonna broadcast the amazing grains on here, and then I decided I'll put clover on top of it, so I won't have to, I was gonna plant it in clover next spring, and then I'll go over it with the Brilliant to kind of push that seed, that amazing grains into this dirt. Since it's so light, it'll sink it right in, and it'll get clover on top of it too. So hopefully that clover will come up, and then next spring I won't have to replant it. We'll just spray the wheat and rye and stuff off and take it from there. So let's get to it. We'll get this planted and get that stand fixed, and make sure everything's good on that, and move on to the next one. Of course, like grass, food plot seed, small seed, no. Medium, wheat and rye, okay. Spreader setting, should be about between 4 and 5. So I think at least that should get us close on it. Let's just put it to 5 on there. And that's all it's to it. It's pretty nice, this Hooyman spreader on here. You could have in this, you know, at least it's going to get you close. It says what kind of seed and everything for food plot seed. And so 4 or 5, I'm going to put it on, make sure I get it on heavy in here. And you know, then it's kind of adjusted the speed of the spinner. So I'll just make sure it, you know, get it to where it puts it like a 20 foot or 15 foot or whatever. But I'll start this out by just putting one bag in there. It does 1 acre, and this is about 6/10 of an acre. So just try to get it all in there, and hope I don't run out before the field is done. So I'll just go somewhat fast, and just because we know we need, and I'll just put the whole bag in there because it doesn't bother me being a little bit heavy, especially when it's like wheat and rye and triticale and stuff like that. I just want to make sure I don't run out, so I'll just keep watching it when I get, you know, halfway done and make sure, okay, we look like we're about at the right spot on it. So we'll just throw a bag in here, and actually I'm going to move it back to 4 just to make sure it doesn't come out too fast. I don't mind too slow. I can go over it again. I just don't want it too fast. So, all right, let me grab a bag of that. No, this one we're doing Amazing Grains on it. We'll put clover and the Brilliant to pack this down in there and stuff. So what's that?
Let's get this on camera. See this, Tiffany? Pocket knife. Had it in my pocket today.
See this? You don't need a pocket knife. So this Amazing Grains we're putting in there, where it basically has oats and rye and stuff like that, and has some triticale in there, and like a forage pea, which is awesome because, like, obviously it's too late to be planting peas, but they come up, these little squiggly, little pigtails coming out, and the deer just love them when they're coming up. So this has been a great mix for us for a fall plot, and this we should be planting like now, between like last week of August up to the first week of September, the kind of this time you'd plant winter wheat. But this has been just money for us. Like I said, it's the one thing that'll be growing in October when everything else is dying. So you'll see when you have, if you have a good clover field and you got rain on it, and that's, you know, good and green and coming up, you know, but if you have a dry and it's hot and stuff, that clover starts to get a little bit brown and loses its moisture and palatability. But this is the one seed that is growing when everything else is dying. So this has always been money for us. Like, we have a field like this where we know we're going to have a deer in here that we want to shoot. This is always my go-to for things like that we'll have Amazing Grains field there on those places where I want to shoot one early, which is the case here. Go. So this theoretically, so you can see most of the wheat in there and the rye and oats, and then the peas are the little round ones in there. Maybe some triticale in there too. But that's basically is enough to do in acre. But like I said, I don't mind putting it a little bit heavy. So I just want to make sure I don't run out with half the field done. I don't want to put it that heavy. But it wouldn't really matter if it was anyway. You can't really overplant winter wheat and stuff like that. You can have it as thick as you want. So I'm going to try to time this out, so maybe just this will run out. Nice thing, you got the 2 windows on here, so I can see it's right at the top of this first window, so I can just be watching that as it goes down. When I figure I'm about halfway done, and I want to make sure it's about halfway in that window. So it's kind of nice that when you're riding on this thing, you don't have to stop and open up the top and look all the time. Which is one of the things I really like about this broadcast spreader. You can mount in the front of your 4-wheeler like this, or in the back. It's got different hitches you can use on it. You can adjust the speed, and when you're going, all you do is push that to open it. That's closed. Open it. You can just open and close it right from your seat. So because you know, when you got soft soil like this, is what it's best for. That'll put a dent that big in your tire track, and it'll just go over, and then you'll have a whole tire track that doesn't get run over on the things.
I understand now.
We just got the amazing grains on that, and now I'm going to take our Pro Clover here, and I love this blend here because it's got several different varieties in there that they all like, but the nice thing is that they all come up at different times. Like they germinate, some faster, some slower. So when one is fully mature and starting to, you know, get stemmy and where they don't eat it as much, the next one will be coming up that they'll like, and then the next one, and then the next one. So if you can't get to it to mow it all the time, if you just have like a Ladino or one type of clover in there, get a good rain and heat, and boom, comes up and it's all stemmy, you know, then they're not eating anything in it. So I like about this blend is if you can't get to mow it right away, it'll last a lot longer. It'll be in it a lot longer before you have to mow it. So this is enough to do 1 acre each. So I'm just going to put enough to do a couple acres in here, and we won't use it all, but I'll use it on the next field. But I think this will work a lot better in this silty soil there to get to do it with a Brilliant, to pack that and then pack that other seed down in there. I think with a drill, maybe we'll get it too deep. So John, when I stop on this, I'm just testing to see if it'll work, like if these are somewhat close on there. So these each do like an acre. So when you take the half an acre, I have to look in there and see, is it all gone, or is it going faster or slower, or, you know, is it right or not? We got 10 fields to do, so that's enough to do 6 acres of clover for at least, or more. Because you don't know, at least I know on this that every square inch will have seed in it, and it's all good, you know. When you just broadcast, you just don't know if you're going faster on some and not on the others. See, the only thing is, like with the peas, sometimes they'll get stuck in that because that thing goes right to the edge, and they'll be in there, it might break them some, or something. It's basically just we just kind of see if it looks like it's coming out way too fast or something, then we'll just slow these down. The front box clover,
but
and this for the back one.
That gauge is like way smaller, right?
Oh yeah, that's just for tiny seed in the front.
Yep.
See, and there's another, I got the rails in there. There's one that doesn't have the paddles like that. It's just a bunch of like wires. So I think it's for if you did want to do like beans or something like that, that it wouldn't like smash them against the side, because that kind of goes along the edge of that. It's basically for grasses and stuff like that. It would be perfect for oats and wheat, but with the peas in there, if one gets in between that, it might, you know, crack the seed. But at least the clover will be good. I'll just do like an outside pass, and we'll stop up here and look at it. Okay, let's move it way down there. You can see how much is on the ground. All right, yeah, we came out a little fast on the amazing grains in the back there. Just trying to get it set for the next fields. Even though we broadcasted this one, I thought let's just try it in here and see if we can just plant clover and amazing grains at the same time on the back box here. We're just kind of getting it set.
I'm definitely below that.
Okay, because I know one was, let me speed this one up a little bit. All right, well, we had a set in this tree already, but it didn't have a camera stand on, so I grabbed one of the new Summit stands. I'm just gonna throw a camera stand on here, and I just redid the straps, put new straps on on this one, just to make sure every year places that we're gonna hunt, we check the straps and stuff and make sure everything is safe on it. So I'm just gonna, it's really nice putting up the cameraman stands. You can just stand on the other one, just pop it around. It makes it super simple. All right, well, we're just getting the camera stand up here, and I just kind of changed the position, put a new Summit stand here, kind of put it more of a at a 90 from this one. It was more behind the tree before. Let me get this tightened up here, but this is such an awesome spot. It's just a big tree here too that doesn't sway. You just feel good and solid in here. This one limb is broken here. May cut a couple of little branches off here, but it's just one of my favorite spots. We have a stand over on the other side over there. There's one year, I think it was, I can't remember, one of the years we had really bad EHD and we just had like no deer left. And got to Christmas, I still hadn't shot a single deer. We came back and from Christmas on like the 27th, had a picture from the camera down there on the other end of a doe was standing in front of it, but in the background, I could see a buck standing there. So my buddy Mark Womack came up and he was filming, and we said, let's just go out there and try it. We had nothing else to even go hunt. Sat there the first day on December 28th, came out in the same spot the big brow tine deer did. Was kind of walking up this way, getting away from me, so it was like a 50-yard shot, but I just smoked him and he ran 50 yards in the woods there and fell over, and it's still one of my favorite deer to this day. It was one that I had sheds of and saw the previous year, but for the entire year, never saw him, thought that he was dead. And here he was alive, but he's just huge mass in the beams and in the points and everything else. And then a couple years after that, we had a 9-point with giant brows, like 10, 11-inch brows. And they were sitting in this stand, and he came out right where the other one did, but now we're sitting there a lot closer. You're always hoping that they'll come out the road here or somebody. He started going down the other way. And so I had like a 50-yard shot on him too, but smoked him. He ran right down into the ditch there and died. So two of my favorite deer basically shot out of this stand. So now we got a couple other big ones here. I'm just excited to get back in here because you got so much cover in here. I'm gonna probably grab that Hooyman pole saw here and maybe just get a couple of these little branches off here to shoot right down to that water trough down there. It should be perfect. We got scrapes right there, scrapes right there. We'll get cameras on those here now too, but that's what you like to do every year, when you're gonna hunt a spot again. To come and check all the straps, put new ones on if you need to, readjust. Like this one was starting to get grown into the tree, so we let it out and I moved it down 4 inches from where it was, just so it's not in the same little grooves that it was in before. Keep it from, from the platform raising up and stuff, just kind of reposition everything. So I think we're ready to go here. I'm gonna swing it just a slight bit over. That's solid. Oh God, that'd be so awesome right over his shoulder right here. Right out, whap. We don't have to stand up. You just get the whole field from here. All right, so we're just gonna put one of the ultras here. And this is one of the scrapes that they hit all the time. And this is where one of the highways is. You see the big highway right there that I was just talking about in the tree stand up there where most of them always have come out. And one thing new that, well, let me get it on there first. Normally I've got my cameras right now out on the field edges and stuff where, on feeders and things like that, where I have them out on a post that you can put the solar panels. And it's nice when you use the lithium battery that they supply. We used to have continuous order at Walmart for batteries every month. We get a whole box of them. I mean, literally thousands of batteries we go through. So this has just saved us a lot of money, and just, let's face it, just a lot of waste of putting batteries in a landfill someplace. So now when you're starting to get into the timber like this, where you can't really get a solar panel, they got a new battery belt that is awesome. So we'll take a look at that, and we'll put that here where in the places where we can't get that solar panel. So it kind of works the same way. Let me get this positioned about right, and I think you can still see the water trough in the background too. And I'm putting an ultra on here that has the live view, because this is one that, right at prime time, I may want to just come to it live and see, where deer are coming into the fields from or whatever. So Let's get this. The tree's too big to tuck that in there. You guys want to make sure you tuck these tails in, because if they leave them laying, we get a windy day, it'll flop all over in front of the camera and take pictures. So let's get that straight on here, somewhere about there. And we're going to do kind of similar to the solar panel. It has a big battery belt with a bunch of lithium batteries on there. So we're just going to put that around the tree. So then you use the cable basically the same way as you do on the solar panel. So you just plug this, and then they have on the new ones, it's nice that they have the screw-in piece. So when you plug that in, you can screw that in so coons and stuff like that don't pull it out. So make sure you got that in there solid. And then take this. It's the same as the solar panel. It has the same type of port. So you use the same cables as you do on that. So you just plug that in, and again, on that it has the screw-in on there, so nothing can pull it out. And like I said, it does have the charging ports on here. You could, if you're even using this, that you could plug it into a solar panel and maybe have the solar panels charge that too. But the reason we're using it in the timber right here is because we don't have sun hitting it, so that wouldn't matter for here anyway. But the thing is, on the ultras, when you use that you know, the live view stuff, it can use more battery. And even if you have it on video, it uses more battery. You think of, you know, when you can't really use it on like on a feeder when you have, you know, hundreds of deer coming in, thousands even, you know, thousands of pictures a day. If it's taking a video every time you do that, even though maybe you're not saving those videos, it uses the battery a lot. So, you know, something like this, it's fine to use video on, because if just on a scrape and stuff like that, they're not just constantly all day and all night. You know, you just basically be your bucks coming into it. So I'd put this one on video. But the ones that, like on a feeder or something like that, you definitely don't want on video. It'll eat the battery fast. But even so, I'm gonna have this on video and probably go to live view a bunch. That's why I like having that battery belt on there, plus the lithium battery that's inside. We can really make sure that, you know, the last thing I want to do is be running out here changing batteries. And that's the way we used to have to do stuff all the time, was just, oh man, we gotta go change the batteries, all the time. And now with these lithiums and your solar panels and stuff, it's really taken that away. You know, you just, basically this whole summer I barely had to change any batteries with those solar panels. It just works phenomenal. So let me take a look at that camera. First of all, I'm going to go to my settings, get camera mode. I'm going to put picture and video on that. Minimum blur, night mode, battery, lithium cartridge, flash power high, delay off. I just want to take a picture every time someone walks by it. Timely check-in picture. I like having that on just in case, so I know I get a picture from it every single day. You know, whether there's something in front of it or not, just, you know, it's working. And the nice thing about the Ultra too is this flash type. You can do no glow, or you can do the low glow one. And so like this, I'll just put it no glow on it, because they're going to be right in front of it. You know, they're right in that scrape, and it uses less battery, and you know, for a person won't see it, it'll just be like a blackout one. But if it was something farther away that, you know, I wanted to get, you know, a maximum flash range, I got in the middle of the field, then I could put it to low glow, where it would have way more flash power on it, but it uses more battery. But I don't need that for right here, so I'm just gonna keep it on no glow, and then I should be all set. And then, okay, I'll apply all those settings. All right, and even if I want to go to see where it's aiming at now, let's see, we might want it up just a little bit more, because if they have their head up in that, I want to make sure we get it. John, can you grab the top of that? Like, 'cause I can't really pick out where it is. Is that like real high on it? Yeah, they won't get up that high. So I can see your whole hand there. So that's good, and it'll still trigger there. So a lot of times you have these facing down a little bit, but I think for here, we'll want it, if their heads are going to be up in that, we want to catch catch their head on that. So we can just go to work mode, yes. Set her down and should be all set on that. At least with this setup here now, you know, I don't have to worry about batteries on it. We're leaving actually a week from yesterday, so only 6 days until we leave for Alberta and stuff. So, you know, we'll be gone, won't be back till October 1st or somewhere around there. So I want to go to all these important cameras like this that are gonna be in the places, for sure the ones that are gonna be in places that I know that, at least for now, we'll be hunting, make sure those batteries aren't gonna die, that even when I'm gone on the road, I can still be checking my cameras every day and making sure that these bucks are still in here, or if they change locations, we know what to do when we get back. So I'm just gonna refresh this rope a little bit here. This rope is in here since last year, but you see they were using it a bunch. We'll just refresh it now. Even though it's early, you know, it's only August. You see a picture of my big one yesterday, just kind of like chasing a doe around. You can see they just kind of chase them and stuff, but they'll start hitting all these. I got my first couple bucks that have lost their velvet. They just shed out yesterday, 2 of them. And so as soon as they start, you know, shedding their velvet, you can tell on these field edges, they're gonna start hammering these scrapes and everything. So we just want to get a little scent on this, get some on the ground, get it started, and just hopefully they'll come in front of this camera and give us a good show. All right, well, we kind of wrapped up on this field here, and for this particular deer, I'm pretty sure Tiffany will be sitting in that stand opening day, or at least those first couple of days, and I have a good feeling that she'll shoot one of these bucks within by October 8th, I would guess, depending on weather. But we got, you know, the water troughs, we got new camera setup. This is all basically set up right here. So it's basically our last video of the summer. I got a couple more fields to plant still, but it's our last video, so thanks for tuning in. The next time we come to you, we will be in Alberta. Don't forget, at the end of this video, we're going to be giving away that Mod Bug camper. So some lucky guy or gal is going to be going home with that. So once again, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in Alberta.
Look at you, Mathews.
I literally feel like I'm carrying Reagan right now.
Yeah, put it right here.
All right, so we're just planting Analogics Amazing Grains, and I have a chart in here for stuff that we've planted before. Of course, Amazing Grains isn't in there, so we'll have to calibrate it ourselves. We want it like 50 pounds an acre. So the nice thing about this, doesn't matter what the mix is, it can be 20 different size seeds. On a regular drill, you have no idea what the settings are, but this one's super simple to calibrate it. Tiffany, go up there, make sure all these cups have it in there. Spread it out over that, because that middle cup might just go run empty over there. Okay. So we're just... Okay, that should be good. So what it did is just pulled these out, pulled the knobs off there and turned them around. So now you turn this thing 26 times. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's 26, and now we need to get that down here. We need to put the bowl on it and tear it to 0. Got to make sure it's in pounds too.
I was gonna say, is it pounds, ounces, or?
Zero?
0, yeah.
Okay, so then we need to pull these out.
.08.
1 pound 8 ounces.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's going to be very close. So we'll go. You know, take that weight, times it by 41. So obviously 41. So 8 ounces. So it's 328 for the ounces, and then plus 41. So that's 61 and a half. Just where we had it. I just took one that was just on winter oats or something like that, and I just kind of guessed. So we're on at 50. I always like to go a little bit heavier, so I think I'm going to just keep it at that. I'm just going to keep it at 1.5 on the gate and 5 over there. So we should probably, if we had a pen, I got to write it on that sheet over there, just so for next time we know what it should be at. But 61 is probably good. I like doing it a little bit heavier than they recommend, just to make sure. if some of it doesn't germinate or some of it doesn't, you know, doesn't get into the ground right or something. So now we can flip these back over, and so the seed drops through and not into this. Okay. Okay, so we got 1.5 and 5.
You got a pocket knife on it?
As a matter of fact, I do.
You didn't pull the right side?
Guess not. I tried the other side, it's too hard.
All right. I think we should get that. Okay, we should get that east field over there, because that 8, that big heavy 8, he's been living in that east field over there. Normally he was up on that east cornfield, which he could end up there too, but right now he's been on that east field every day. So I think if we get this growing, if we don't cut any corn up there, we'll just kind of see where he ends up. And it's another one, the one that we just did up on the go around for that. What should we call that one? He was just the short 410 last year, but now he's got that side by side, or he kind of melded his 2 and 3. In the past, he had like 5 on the side and 4 and 1 and stuff like that.
Let's call him Lou.
But he was always, now he's just an 8 with split 2s. But he got giant brows.
In honor of Linda Lou.
Okay.
It's her farm.
Okay. Lou it is.
Lou.
So we're set up for Lou over here. So here, we had it printed up because we did all these analogic ones, but we didn't do amazing grains. So let's just put on here analogics. Amazing grains. So we want the gate at 1.5 and the gearbox, I have it on, it's on 5 right now, right? So let's go 5 equals 60 pounds per acre in case somebody wants to go to 50. But so it'd probably be like 4.5 or whatever. But I like doing it a little bit heavy, so 60's fine for me on that. Let's go plant it and get Lou on the radar. He's been here for about 4 years now, so I think he's like a 6 or 7 years old. And he was always, you know, heavy and stuff, but he is just too young. So now I think.
I bet we've seen him before, haven't we? Like.
Yeah, I always saw him late season when I was up on the east field. You'd see him come out from the other side over there. So, but he's definitely now. He's one of the old ones here that we should probably target. Even though he doesn't have 5 on it, like he's never had 5 on both sides, but he's had 5 on one. He's been palmated and stuff before, but now he's kind of cleaned everything up. Well, it feels pretty firm, but I just don't know that it's going too deep. You know, you just think like how deep those grooves are. If it were like the rain hard and go, the other stuff would be 3 inches deep. Yeah, no, I mean, it's just right there on the top. It's just that I don't like that it's like such a deep groove before it gets to it, because if you have a heavy rain, that would just mush all that out, and then the seed would be 3 inches deep.
Okay, stop to the new the old crotch, please. Nope, yeah, it's gotta go to the top. Okay, go. I like this thing.
The time has come with this. The Mod Bug has been awesome for us. You know, last year at elk hunting and everything else, it basically has everything, even though it's so small. You got in the back, you got a kitchen, you got water, you can take showers, it's got a cooler that just works off the battery. It's basically everything you need in a small camper like this, and somebody is going to win it. This was like one of the toughest things.
It was super hard, actually.
We've done, because there was like over 2,500 entries just on the original and more. We were supposed to give this away a couple weeks ago, but we're just going through hundreds of comments. There's just so many good ones, we just couldn't decide who to pick. What we did is we took 100 of the ones that we thought, hey, these are good ones, and we just put them in a random generator. It just randomly picked one for us because we couldn't pick one. There were so many good ones. So the random generator picked this.
C. Newman 149.
Yep. So I don't know the name or anything like that, but
Or where they live,
but
or how we're going to get it to them.
well, I think so. What we did is they messaged them back, and we gave it to our social media person, and they'll figure it out. So whoever C. Newman 149 is, congratulations. And I'm telling you, you're going to love it. We got ours right over there that we'll be using this year. You never know. We'll have to ask Earl. Maybe we'll be giving him another one away next year. You never know. But everyone, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for your comments. Everything else, it was
Thanks for
overwhelming.
watching.
Yeah,
Yeah, it really was.
unbelievable. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to tune in. Like next week, we'll be in Alberta, so I'm sure we'll be coming to you from there. Hopefully, we'll have a giant mule deer down. Thanks again, guys.